Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are going to be talking about the Ace interview that he did with Speedy.
I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Somebody in the comments said, please, can y'all review this interview? And I was like, your wish is our command. In a short sentence, Blair, what is your overall thought about this interview? Try not to empty the clip too much, you know what I mean?
I wish there was more bluntness.
Okay.
More, as much as he stands on business, I wish there was a little bit more standing on the business.
Yeah.
You know, I think there was some niceties and some not wanting to answering. But I feel like if you, like he said when he first came on, he said, this is where I'm really going to let it out, where I'm going to explain myself and all this type of stuff. And I felt like he was still holding back in some ways.
Yeah.
So
I have to be fair. The theme that we have been going on from our last review with the reunion, make sure y'all watch that, is the word accountability.
Yeah.
And I have to be real. I have to take accountability in this. Ace could have kept this interview. I said the same thing about Huda when she did the interview before the reunion, that Huda could have kept that interview. She shouldn't have did this. And in my opinion, Ace could have kept this interview.
I'm fine that he did it. Just like I said with Coco, if people want to get out and share their experiences and their perspective of things, I mean, who better than the people that were there?
That's fair. You ready to walk us through this interview?
Yeah.
Walk us through this, please.
So these are some of the things he was feeling and everything throughout the interview.
Yeah.
So when they came out, he felt like people came on for clout when they came out the villa and their 15 minutes of fame, but he didn't go on the show for that.
Because you already had some.
He didn't feel people were genuine when they were asking about like followers, social media popularity. He had all those things and he wanted to go in getting to know people for who they were.
Okay.
He didn't want to do the reunion, but he wanted to clear up issues and stand on business. Certain conversations didn't make the cut. He does have anxiety and he was dealing with some depression coming out the villa. And that's why his voice was shaky, because it was hard for him. And he was portrayed as someone as opposite of who he actually is. Yeah. And he thinks he was portrayed as an evil guy.
Now let's start right here, right? So far, what I'm getting from Ace right here is a little self-righteous, just a little humble brag going on. He like, people came on here for clout, people came here for 15 minutes of fame, but I came here for real connections. This is not the first season of Love Island USA. Actually, Love Island started with the UK. Yeah. And there's multiple seasons of Love Island. So there is I would say a reputation on what will happen for you, for your career, for your clout, for your following, for your content, if you come on Love Island. Yeah. So to just say like, wow, they came on here for clout, you know, I came here to actually find like love and like a real connection. No. Because there's easier ways to do that than getting on a plane and going all the way to Fiji and basically being in jail for 6 weeks and things like that. You could find a connection and all these things in your everyday life. You chose to go on Love Island, or you was recruited to be on Love Island, however it happened, was because it would be beneficial to your overall career as well. That doesn't make you any better than the people who came on there for their 15 minutes of fame, in my opinion.
Yeah, and for that, I mean, I think that reality TV as a whole, especially with these kind of game love shows, we're past the point of people not knowing what they're getting themselves into. Yeah. With all of the episodes, seasons, and seeing how things shook out for other people involved with the show, I think it would be a little bit naive to come into the experience. Of course, you can have genuine reasons for coming on, but let's not ignore the fact that there is a benefit for individuals.
You're right.
And I don't look at anybody any type of way for coming on there for clout or enjoying their 15 minutes of fame after the fact or trying to milk it as much as they can, because what's the point of putting yourself out there and being vulnerable in this way to not get anything on the return other than being on TV.
You're right.
I mean, people are trying to make careers out of being influencers these days. So, I mean, that wasn't a huge thing to me. I will say that, yes, when I'm watching Love Island and voting for people, I do want genuine couples to win and to go far, and not people who I think are playing the game. Yeah. But if people went on there and are milking it after the fact, I don't feel any way about that.
No, me neither.
Yeah. So he was talking about how he was flirting with Shelly online, commenting, liking her stuff, but he never actually pursued it or thought it would work because she lived in Florida and he was in LA.
Okay.
And to me, I believe that. I mean,
don't.
People do meet each other on vacation or traveling, and they may stay in contact with each other or post little things or communicate with each other online. And that does happen. So I just don't think that means that they were in a full-blown relationship or were deep into each other before they got on and it was a whole plan. I just don't believe that.
Well, let me help you, right? If you could be helped in this
I'm about to
right?
say, I mean, I said what I said.
Let me help you, right? The Nicolandria people, they stand where they stand, and I stand where I stand.
Okay.
But truth be told, both sides can agree, even though we're on opposite sides, that if Nicolandria is PR, we can accuse Ace and Shelly for being PR for this reason and this reason only, right? I understand, as I said in the reunion episode, the chances of you meeting someone in New York, right? And then y'all building a bond and things like that to where y'all know each other, and then y'all are so happen to be picked for the same show to where y'all both on Love Island. Oh, that's a coincidence. But the thing that actually stands out to me first is, let me ask you a question, Blair. How many people did Ace explore on the show?
For real?
How many?
One.
Mm-hmm. So you being on the show, let's say that is a coincidence. But you come on the show that you know this girl, that you had interest for this girl outside the show, and then you have this rule to where everybody have to explore. But when we go through the whole season, how many people did Ace explore?
One.
Mm-hmm.
He talked to people, but he wasn't really exploring.
Exactly.
As far as the viewers, it didn't seem like he was going to try to take anyone as seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I can look at it and be like, it's kind of it looked funny in the light because you know this girl, you had interest in this girl, and then when you actually have a chance to be on the show to where there's multiple girls that you can explore, you only talk to the girl that you knew outside the villa.
So then what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say I'm trying to say that, hey, he just keep repeating the same thing that we already know. And my thing is, hey, the story sounds a little fishy. It's very fishy to me because it's like, how can you, quote unquote, end up with the girl? Because a lot of people believe that Shelly and Ace, that, you know what, they came in as pawns and that they really was together beforehand. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. But I'm willing to go as far to say, if I'm going to say that Nicolandria is a PR move, I'm willing to say, hey, the fact that Shelly and Ace is together, I can say that's giving PR-ish too. Because at the end of the day, y'all knew each other before. Y'all had interest in, or at least he had interest in her before. And then you come on the show and only explore her. That's fishy to me. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's just fishy.
No, I'm just saying, if the Nicolandria fans could come to me and say, Chris,
I feel like those are two different arguments.
But I'm just saying that I'm saying that, hey, Nicolandria is a PR stunt 100%. They have the right to say, well, guess what? Shelly and Ace, they knew each other before the villa, and then
there could be something.
It could be. So that's why I'm like, if I gotta call Nicolandria fake, I'm willing to say, you know what, Ace and Shelly, there's potential for that to be fake too.
Okay.
Because Ace only explored one girl throughout this whole time, even though he was searching for genuine connections and putting the expectations for everybody to talk to everybody, but he only talked to one girl seriously. I'm not buying that.
That's a good segue into the other thing that he talked about of how he was talking to everyone at first, but the guys were not. Then the girls started coming to him saying that the guys weren't talking to them. And that's when he started encouraging the guys to talk to the girls. And then when he got the most kisses in a challenge, the guys started calling him group leader.
So Ace was on a show full of incels. Why is he making himself seem like I understand that you can be real, as people like to call themselves and things like that. But why are you positioning yourself to be the realest, the coolest, the baddest? You get what I'm saying? To where he's like, you know what? The guys came on here and they wasn't really talking to the girls. And the girls came to me. And then I talked to them. And then I had to tell them to talk to the girls as if this is the first season of Love Island. I'm sure the people who are on Love Island know how Love Island works.
Yeah.
So it just funny in this first part of what you are reviewing for us, Blair, is that Ace is positioning himself to be the leader, to have to basically be like, I had to tell the guys. Is it you had to tell Taylor? Because I don't think you had to tell Jeremiah, because Jeremiah was already stuck on whoever he was with and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, I think he's putting, it feels like he's putting a lot of sauce on it, and why he's like, I was never the ringleader, but yet you're giving this interview and you're positioning yourself to where you had to lead the guys to talk to the girls, these grown men.
Well, I think the thing is with Ace, and Look, I can't challenge his experience.
Of course not.
But I can question the perspective, if you would allow me to.
You are allowed to do anything you want, Blair. Go ahead. Help me.
So when we're talking about the guys not talking to the girls, are we talking about every single guy there didn't talk to any girl at all?
I don't think so.
Or was it certain guys that Ace was cool with that was nervous, Taylor, to have conversations with people and had to be like, oh, do you think she would talk to me? Do you think she would talk to me? Was there maybe one or two guys who weren't really talking, and maybe the girls came to him saying like, hey, like, you know, what about your friend? What about this? So I'm just saying, like, there's an opportunity for perspective to shift what Ace's experience was.
You ain't lying.
And I think that if we look at Jeremiah's experience, I don't think he had a problem with talking to whoever he wanted to talk to.
Actually, the girls wanted to talk to him.
Exactly.
And he was more closed off with Huda. So yeah.
Yeah. So that, because I've seen that, and I'm hearing where Ace is coming from, I think that it could be two different perspectives on who exactly wasn't talking to who and who was calling him group leader.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Ace loves Amaya.
Okay.
He did find her to be a lot. They were about to spend the night together, and he wanted to establish his boundaries. Babe wasn't a problem for him. He says he has some family who's like Latino, and he thought that she was using that to try to mark her territory. He knows the difference between love and marking territory. So other people thought that she was coming on strong as well. He wanted to be clear, but other people didn't feel like they wanted to voice their concerns, which he considered to be fake, i.e. Austin.
What is your thoughts on that?
I think that a lot of this is perspective, honestly.
Yeah. So
I hear Ace, and I'm not challenging what he thinks, because I think that based off of, because he also talked about how there was some trauma there. I guess he was trying to express that to Amaya, but it was taking a little while for him to get there. She wasn't necessarily upset about the boundary portion, but about some other things he was saying. He didn't tell us the other things he was saying, and maybe it's, personal to him, which is fine. But it doesn't make the picture any clearer of what you're actually trying to say. So I think that the way he went about it, as far as pairing up with her, making it seem like he was into her, because when you choose somebody to pair up with,
come on, Blair,
then it does appear that you are into getting to know them and building a relationship, which includes physicality.
Start at point A.
So I think that when it comes to that, for Amaya, for the viewers, it is odd for you to pick somebody and immediately the same night tell them, don't touch me.
Yeah.
And don't call me babe.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you're actually not interested in exploring that person. And maybe you want to do it on your terms, which is fine. You can have your own boundaries. But I think he has to acknowledge, like, it wasn't done with care. It was done as he was brushing her to the side, like, you're annoying me, leave me alone type of situation, you know, and it wasn't any type of reassuring of, I do want to get to know you, and all this different type of stuff. And maybe those are the parts that are edited out. You know what I'm saying?
Potentially.
But I'm just saying that the conversation didn't lead to, I really find you attractive and I want to get to know you, but these are certain things that I feel like I want to take my time with, versus don't do this, don't do that, and I don't know what you crying for.
Yeah. To basically piggyback off of the great point that you made, Blair, is that we can all agree that production can edit things and cut things up to where it can look one way when it's the other way. Yeah. Right. But this really gave me Huda vibes right here. And what do I mean by Huda vibes? You know how whenever Huda is caught in the wrong or something like that, she always lead with, what? I love so-and-so. That's what it came off as Ace, right? Because what we saw, based off of what was presented to us, you wasn't really moving in love, right? Or even understanding, right? So let's start off from point A before we get to point F.
You were annoyed.
You was, for one, point A is you chose Amaya.
Yeah.
You did not have to choose Amaya.
Yeah.
Austin was not expecting you to choose like everybody was expecting, at least at that point, that you were showing interest in Shelly, that you was going to choose Shelly. When you had a chance to choose somebody, you chose Amaya. The night of, y'all didn't even go to bed yet. You already gave her a list of rules of what this is not. So you choose me, and then you saying, hey, we're not really in a couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
That's okay. Then you compile things on. Then the next day she calls you babe, and you're like, yeah, I don't like that either. So it felt like a pile on, right? And I feel like there's an overcorrection, because I feel like there is a point to where you can set boundaries, but I feel like what Ace is doing here is an overcorrection with the whole, I love Amaya, right? I think it's okay to like Amaya. It's okay to not love Amaya, but it's okay to be like, Amaya cool, right? But I think Ace needs to take accountability, and hey, you came off too strong. In that moment, Amaya was not, right, asking you to marry her.
Yeah.
In that moment, Amaya was not asking you to be exclusive. In that moment, you did not know Amaya, right? Actually, if I remember correctly, when she came into the villa as a bombshell and things like that, and y'all was talking, it seemed like you was interested in like getting to know her and things like that. So I can see it from Amaya's perspective of how can you choose me, and literally the night that I get chosen, you give me a whole bunch of don't stop, get away from me.
Yeah.
So like you wasn't understanding, right? And so you didn't give Amaya a chance to actually make a mistake and correct it herself.
And that's where, it goes to where he feels like he wasn't bullying her because he didn't raise his voice. He was just setting his boundaries with her.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it confusing and frustrating for Amaya, because number one, okay, you're stating your boundaries, whatever the case may be. You do know you're on Love Island, right? And everybody is kissing and licking and touching each other, everybody down.
Yep.
And whatever he went through, which he didn't share with us, you can have your boundaries outside of challenges and all that type of stuff. But I just always, even when it came to Alandria, when it came to, I don't kiss outside of challenges, I'm just like, what are all these things that people are making up on this show that is extremely raunchy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're right.
Like, this is a nasty, nasty show. And I'm not saying that he should have not told her his boundaries, but because it was as though he put a wall up to where he didn't want her to come towards him. And I think, honestly, that at some point she irritated him and he really wanted nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would have respected it more if he would have said, which he did say she's a lot, but you can also say, look, I chose her for whatever reason. We really don't know why you chose her.
That's what I need to know.
I want to know why you chose her.
Exactly.
And then after you choose her, you put all of these like walls up. So what is actually going on here?
So really, you did not choose her.
Yeah.
If she can't be herself.
Yeah.
I think Ace thought this was for the love of Ace besides Love Island. You get what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
Then Ace is asked, did he feel like Taylor led Alandria on? He said that Taylor had a lot of influences. He encouraged Taylor to get to know her in different ways, but he was stuck between a rock and a hard place because he was trying to help them both out. Alandria didn't know that Taylor was under other influences to be with her, and Ace couldn't tell her. Now, I did see some clip of, I guess, Taylor looking at Ace's interview and him saying something about like producers having an influence on him. Okay, number one, who else was Taylor gonna get with? Who else was Taylor going to be with at the time? Nobody. Who else was Taylor pulling and actually having good chats with in order to move relationships forward?
Yeah.
Nobody. So I really don't know what Taylor thought his other options were. Sierra, you stood up for her. She didn't want you.
Facts.
So, so I just don't really know. Even if he was influenced by producers to stick with Alandria, what was his other option at the time? Yeah. And then the other thing that I feel like when it comes to like the influences that or the consciences that Ace is talking about throughout this, why can't we call out production? Is there like a...
Don't look at me. I'm sitting next to you.
Is the contract still in effect? I thought we was getting real and raw this interview. Like, what? Why are we being vague? Well, I don't understand.
Well, put it like this, right? Influences or not, because one thing we're going to hear a lot throughout this interview that Blair's walking us through is that there are influences or production basically making people do things, right? But my thing is, Ace, if you are as real as you say you are, it wouldn't matter who tried to make you do something. You would stand on 10 toes down 100%.
Even if that meant you went home because you're not here for the clout.
And at the end of the day, you said you was ready to go after week 2. So like, I don't know why you just didn't do anything that you wanted to do. When it comes down to you and your friend, I will give Ace just a little amount of credit is that we heard Ace called Taylor basically a dummy mm-hmm. for like, hey, you don't like Olandria? She's literally cooking for you in the room. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, I actually saw a clip. I saw a clip yesterday, Blair, and I wonder if you saw it, to where Miguel and Leah was talking about their experience with producers, the influencers and things like that, to where producers was actually, quote unquote, told Miguel not to talk to Leah, right? Oh. Producers told him, do not talk to Leah. Miguel was like, I like Leah. I'm going to talk to Leah. Because at that time, he was with Sierra, mm-hmm. right? And producers told him, don't do it. And he did it anyway, mm-hmm. right? So he got in trouble with production, to where he couldn't talk to Leah for 2 days and things like that. But to him, he's like, I don't care. Like, I like Leah. I want to get to know Leah. And it just is what it is. So this is one of many examples. And then we heard Janae many times talk about how producers can't make you do something. I think production do have their hand in a lot of what's going on the show, to where we really cannot believe what we see anyway.
Right.
But at the same time, we have many examples of people doing things outside of what production want them to do. So my thing is, the whole thing with Taylor, the whole thing with Ace, with trying to blame producers or these outside forces making you do things, no one can make you do things, because if you really believe in what you believe in, you would take the risk of, you know what, I don't need this, I go home. Yeah. Because I thought it would be this, but it's that. Yeah. You know, so that's why I'm like, him trying to pass accountability off his friend Taylor, because it's like he had other influences to where he was doing Landry, and I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. No, just be real, because at the end of the day, you said you real.
Yeah. Like, and this show doesn't mean to you what it means to other people. You're here to find love.
Exactly.
And you're getting along with Shelly. Everything's going good. And now you can see a way for y'all to be together, even though y'all still live in two different mm-hmm. states. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
let's keep going.
Ace didn't think Huda be a mom should have been a big secret. He said that if people didn't like she had a kid, then she should have told them to step, essentially. Mm-hmm. But people have kids every day and date, even though it can be hard.
That's fair. I do agree with that.
Yeah. Ace stood behind Huda to keep her when it was her against Jalen going home. And again, those influences came up as far as that's why he stood behind her. And Speedy asked, could he have done what he wanted to? And Ace said, a lot of things you don't have a hand on the steering wheel. Mm-hmm. It was influences that had to persuade you, and it wasn't easy going against those influences.
Why not? You were ready to go after week 2. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing about it, right? When there's an opportunity, it's easy to be real when no one's forcing you to be real. Like in this interview, Speedy didn't make Ace call himself real. So guess what? It's a perfect environment for me to call myself I'm real. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But when you is face to face with opposition, that somebody's making you do something that you in your heart of hearts do not believe in, right? At the end of the day, we don't see production. We see your actions.
Yeah.
And you have to basically explain your actions. It's very hard for me to accept someone calling themselves the realist and real and things like that, but yet at the same time talking about, well, you know, my hand's not on the wheel, and, you know, I got these influence that's making me do these things. But at the same time, you talking out the other side of your mouth saying, I was ready to go after week 2. So it's like, you're not as real. And on top of that, you're willing to bend when somebody's bending you. You get what I'm saying? Not in that way, but I'm just saying, like, Ace, don't break your arms, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, and I guess my point is that I can understand that this is a show. Production wants things to be a certain type of way, and so they want people to kind of maneuver in a way for the show's sake, and I think that's fine, and I think that's, you know, I guess I would say that when it comes to Ace, if it looks like you're doing certain things or you're backing Huda, but you don't actually want to back Huda, then I feel like a better explanation would be great beyond influences.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it really wasn't your decision, or if there would have been a penalty for what you did, or if you didn't go along with the program, I don't know. That's why I'm saying, like, I wish there was more bluntness and clearness in the delivery, because I think that there was still a lot allowed to have people come up with their own reasoning.
Yeah.
And I'm over here saying production, but he didn't say production. He said influences and conscience. Mm-hmm. So whatever that means. So I'm just like, I hear you, and we're going to continue to hear him.
Yeah.
So when it's time to send someone home, there's apparently more to the deliberations than what the viewers see. When Jeremiah got voted up, Nick did speak up for Austin to go home, and Ace explained that during the reunion, that was not the full clip. They went through the pros and cons of every person, and he did make it clear to Jeremiah that it wasn't personal when he got him out. They're cool now, but he acknowledges it felt like some hater type stuff at the moment.
Okay.
And also, Taylor did want to get to know Andreina, but he couldn't say exactly that Taylor wanted Jeremiah off so he could get to know Andreina.
One thing that he said, I don't know if it's coming up, but one thing that he said was that when it came down to the pros and cons of rather keeping Jeremiah, let me start here. I hate when people say they don't show the whole clip. Listen here, we're here to watch the reunion. We're not here to watch a 1 hour unedited version of a clip that happened with y'all voting. We don't care that much, right? Yeah. So when it comes down to the whole Jeremiah thing, and this is what I don't get about Ace, throughout the reunion and other things, he's like, I wasn't a ringleader. Like, it's like they are misrepresenting me. But yet you say out your mouth is that when the bombshell came in for Jeremiah and things of that nature, you said Taylor came and reported to you Jeremiah doing the same thing again. And basically you was like, well, I didn't see it, but we will assess. So you have people reporting back to you, Taylor. Right?
But Taylor said that during the deliberation.
But my whole thing is, why do Taylor feel the need to report back to Ace that Jeremiah is doing the same thing again?
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, you don't know why people are calling you the ringleader and things like that. So what are the pros and cons? I really wish that Speedy would have asked us, so what was the pros and cons of Jeremiah?
Yeah.
Because truth be told, out of everything that was basically, in my opinion, based on what we saw off the show, I think it was fair for everybody to say, you know what? Y'all can't date while we all here on the villa. Talk about Huda and Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah already made it up in his mind that I'm not talking to Huda no more. So there's no other, what's the word? You cannot then judge Jeremiah for he's doing the same thing that he did with Huda.
Right.
Because it's a total different person. It's a total different environment. It's a peaceful environment. It's actually an environment that everybody can actually focus and actually not have to basically baby the relationship.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, even though the pros and cons and you trying to make it seem like, listen here, I was all for Austin getting out. At that time, while we was watching the show, you have shown too many times that you care more about Jeremiah and basically controlling that and speaking your mind with that than you did with your own connections and things like that.
Yeah.
And Taylor was never going to talk to Andreina because at the end of the day, Jeremiah left and we did not see him talk to her.
And then Ace also wanted to clear his name that he wasn't trying to get to know Andreina because she made a joke about not wanting to touch him based off of his conversation with Amaya. So he was off her by that point, and he was also focused on Shelly. Now, with Ace and this whole deliberation thing, okay. So we saw Nick speak up for Austin to go home.
Yeah.
He said he felt like, he acknowledged that it felt like some hater type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it was some hater type of stuff.
100%.
Because in the early seasons or scenes during Love Island, we had that clip where he was sitting talking to Taylor and essentially, to me, trying to get Taylor to see his perspective of how Jeremiah was fake.
Yeah.
And I was seeing that at the time as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Accountability. Right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. But I think that when you're planting these seeds, or just your opinions,
yeah,
but they can also be considered seeds amongst the house about and against one particular person, then that is going to color people's perspective of that person.
Yeah.
And if you guys are in the deliberation period and you feel like you didn't say as much as Taylor or whatever the case may be, you have been planting seeds against Jeremiah for quite a while.
Yes, you have.
And the fact that you guys decided to get him up off of, Love Island at an opportunity to where he was actually exploring and getting to know somebody new after he already talked to Iris as well. Mm-hmm. Then it was on some hater type of stuff. I don't know why Ace doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that at the time he didn't see it for Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. He didn't like Jeremiah. He didn't think he was genuine, because I didn't feel like Jeremiah was genuine for a moment there as well. I thought it was very touch and go.
Yeah, same.
So I get that y'all are cool now and you felt like the clip wasn't long enough, but I feel like we're not talking enough about how Ace felt in the moment and why he did the things that he did. and made the decisions that he made, you know?
Yeah, and I like the fact that you, Blair, is seeing his perspective, right?
Okay.
I'm going to say it a little bit more straightforward because he's lying. Right?
Yeah.
He's lying because you can't say out the same mouth that, hey, when all the girls came to me and told me that the guys need to explore us more, and then you went to the guys and they listened to you, right? So you telling me that you telling me, this is what he said at the reunion, that really he wanted Austin to go home. Mm-hmm. If Ace wanted Jeremiah to stay, Jeremiah would have stayed.
Well, it's not that he wanted Austin to go home. He was saying that Austin should have been. He said he regrets Jeremiah.
But my whole thing is, even though Taylor could be heard, the one with the main voice, if Ace wanted Jeremiah to stay, Taylor would have changed his mind.
He would have.
So like, don't give me this whole, like, you know, Austin should have been the one. If you wanted Jeremiah to stay, Ace, right, as you being the leader, that everybody come to you and things like that, Jeremiah would have stayed. The reason why Jeremiah didn't stay is because you was hating on him and you didn't want him to stay.
Yeah.
It's just that plain and simple, you know?
So Ace talks about how he would check on people in the villa just to, you know, if people had different issues, he would help people see both sides of the situation. A lot of people also, you know, came to him. He was trying to help people throughout their experience.
Yeah.
He would think that more people would have his back post villa because of the things he knows about certain people, but he isn't the type to air out dirty laundry.
I don't know what that means. What do, like, I'm lost for words because I'm like, okay, what do you mean you wish they would have had your back more? It didn't sound like no one didn't have his back. So, like, I'm like, what was Ace really expecting from people outside the villa now that it's over? Like,
I mean, I think that he got a lot of backlash.
Okay.
For certain things that happened in the house, and some people developed their idea of what his character was.
Yeah.
And he probably wanted people to speak to the character that they knew while he was in the villa when it came to these interviews and different situations like that.
And that's why you do your own interview.
Yeah. But I also want to talk about the fact that he said, you know, he was just going around making sure people were good and all that type of stuff. Ace, half and half. Okay
Perspective.
Half yes, you were going around checking on people, making sure people were good. I think he was definitely a light and a great energy to the house,
of course,
and I think it was a pleasure to watch him on screen. But at the same time, you were gathering information for whatever purposes that you had. Just the way that Charlie was talking about, well, you over here asking me all this type of stuff, but you're not being transparent and actually letting us know where you are or where you stand, because you were doing that intentionally. So maybe he felt like, well, if they feel comfortable coming to me, that's on them, but I don't have to say nothing. But then don't go around asking people anything about their situation if you're not willing to talk. So I feel like, yes, Ace, you were, you know, a good friend and a good, you know, person to talk to in the house, but it wasn't all the way because of the kindness of your heart. There was some strategy going on as well. Like, we can't lie about that.
And don't expect people to speak out for your character. Remember, these people experiencing you in real time, but also they got a chance to go home and watch it. So the same way as Blair said that you may be gathering information, and in the moment it may feel genuine until they watch it on TV and they see that you're kind of like playing chess while everybody playing checkers. They may feel like, maybe I don't really know Ace as good as I do. So that's why I'm like, maybe you should, like, besides putting the responsibility on other people to defend your character, guess what? This didn't have to be your first interview. This could have been your fifth interview. You could have spoke out for your character while at the same time not putting the quote unquote accountability for other people to really share their things. Because I think it's kind of, what's the word? I think it's kind of dirty to say, like, there's things that I know about them that I wouldn't say. They're dirty. It's just like,
it's unnecessary.
It's like,
because if you're not going to say it, then what are you bringing it up for?
And my whole thing is, so you are that type of person? Like don't threaten to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Ace said that Nick found Olandria attractive day one.
Yeah.
He thought them getting coupled up was going to be them pretty much being friends and nothing more than that. He also felt like he had to cater to what was going on between Nick and Olandria. His last conversation with Nick was that they found each other attractive, but there wasn't a romantic spark. And then seeing the whole Nick Olandria thing was crazy on the outside. He himself didn't see the spark between them, and they tested their connection. It didn't work out. And then Nick went back to Sierra. He was happy for Olandria for all the love that she was getting, and you know, Nick kind of too as well, kind of.
Yeah. Now this one we saw on TV. We saw them basically say there's no romantic spark, and they went back to their prospective partners.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So this one kind of falls in line to what we saw. Like, this wasn't any new information that we learned outside of what we saw on Love Island during the show.
Yeah. And then we move on to the heart rate challenge. The clip at the reunion was sped up, he said. People were looking around for like 5 to 7 seconds talking about this is crazy. He had the mindset of this was just a challenge. Everyone goes all out in the challenges doing their sexiest stuff to get points or a win.
Yeah.
But no one expected Huda to lick his private parts.
Okay.
After everyone was laughing and joking, but Shelly was mad. He said that Shelly did hold him accountable for about a week. And after the fact, he was uncomfortable with what Huda did. Or I don't even know if it was after the fact. He said that he was uncomfortable with what Huda did. Mm-hmm. There are different ways to get someone's heart rate up. It could be shock, surprise, not attraction. I want to start on this one.
Okay, go ahead, Blair.
Because, you know, how I've been coming about the heart rate challenge and me talking about how I didn't think it was that bad. If Ace was uncomfortable, then it was too far.
Okay.
I'm going to put that on the record. If Ace was uncomfortable, then it was too far. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, when did the uncomfortability start? When it happened? When she laid you down on the ground and you was shaking her booty in your face and you was rubbing on it and putting your head up there?
Not rubbing it. He kind of was spreading it a little bit, you know?
Or did the discomfort come once Shelly was putting you through the doghouse? Those are just questions to not get an answer, because I really don't care. I really don't care to get an answer. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, sure, if you're uncomfortable, then that's fair. When did the discomfort start? Because that does tell me whether or not it was actually truly discomfort, or are you talking that way for account of your lady?
Yeah, it's almost like Huda saying, like, I felt bullied, but then she's using a clip that she actually didn't feel it in real time.
She didn't feel it in the moment, but she felt it after the fact when she saw it.
She's like, hold on, this is the moment of bullying. My thing is, he said he noticed, even Speedy said, like, you were smiling and things like that. Listen here. Even though I'm not attracted to Huda is an attractive girl, right? And she's kissing him and bouncing on him, and they're basically moaning and doing all these things, and he's smiling. He look like he about to spread and make a smile. It's not my place to say if you was uncomfortable or not, right? I will say, based on what I've seen, that this news that I hear now is new to me. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To me, I still think the heart rate challenge did not go too far. Mm-hmm. That's the side I'm gonna stay on, right? Okay. Because it's one thing if she only licked your rooter to the tutor in the whole villa, but she did that to Jeremiah too. That's her move. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Now, could the move be too far? Sure, right? But my thing is, maybe you was nervous. At no point did I see you say stop, and I'm not trying to put it to where it's like, oh my goodness, like maybe, like my whole thing is this, that it came off to me that a lot of the reason why Shelly was mad at you, or mad at Huda, or mad at the whole experience, because, you know, like, she likes you and she's seen Huda doing all these things to you. I don't think it was anything as deep as like, oh, I was uncomfortable and that shouldn't have been done to me and things like that.
Because even when Taylor did his interview, and they were trying to figure out what was the too far part, he talked about the booty in the face. Yeah. And then Huda talked about the licking. Mm-hmm. And so it's just kind of like, so then what is the too far part?
What is the too far part?
But if Ace said that was too far for him, then that was too far.
Okay, Ace, we give you that.
Yeah. So, basically talking about behind closed doors, certain people said certain couples shouldn't have been in the final four. Mm-hmm. He's talking about Nick. I don't know why he likes to talk in such vague ways.
And dude, you know what's funny? Speedy said, so Nick, I don't understand.
I'm just like, because we're having an interview to get, and then at one point, like, he was asking him about Huda, and he was like trying not to say Huda's name. Like, we're doing an interview about your time on the show and the people you were on the show with. Like, let's have the conversation. Anyway, so Nick behind closed doors was saying that Ace and Shelly should have been final four, but when it came to the cameras, he was saying that the people that were in final four were the right people that should have been there. And he felt like a lot of the times the cast would do that, say something else behind cameras, but in front of the camera, be silent or switch up what they're trying to say.
Do you have a problem with this?
I think Ace is right to have a problem with this.
I think,
and the reason why is because if you actually think you're close and cool with somebody and they're switching up for the cameras, then we aren't as cool as I thought.
That's fair.
Because we're cool enough, but once the heat is on, then you're going to switch up. So I feel like for Ace, like, do with your relationships as you will and your friendships as you will. For me, I probably wouldn't be close to Nick either if that was the situation.
Yeah.
You know, I would kind of consider it to be, oh, we're cool. We're like kind of like a work relationship or whatever the case may be, even if we were super close in person. But if you're switching up because of cameras, then I can't trust you, you know?
Yeah. I'm about to be wide mouth a little bit in this segment. I'm about to talk out of both sides of my mouth. Right?
All right.
On the surface, yes, someone should have a problem if someone switch up like that, right? To me personally, I'm not a big fan of Nick because Nick have shown outside of this moment right here that he's performative and he's fake in certain instances, right? But my thing is, even though a person should have a problem with what Nick said right here, I don't think Ace should have a problem with what Nick said right here. Because I'm going off of what Ace said. Ace said by the time that he was eliminated, he been ready to go, right? Basically, he has Shelly, they have each other, he's ready to go. So if you quote unquote don't need the money, you don't need the clout, and you came here for real connection,
then why does it matter?
Then why does it matter if you were part of the Final Four or not? Like, so that's why I'm like.
But it's about what Nick said.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying for Nick, if it was somebody else, what Nick said, it could be seen as two-faced. But I'm like, Ace, for you to have a major problem with this, and this seems to be the foundation of why maybe you and Nick is not as close today. I'm like, why do you care that Nick said that to you personally? Because you came here not for clout. You didn't come here to win the money. You came here to get the girl. You got the girl. You went home. You've been ready to go home since week 2. You get what I'm saying? You said basically at the end of this interview that you kind of regret doing this whole experience. So like, what is the problem that you have with Nick saying that, you know what, I'm good with the people of the Final Four? Because you can view it different ways that Nick is saying. Nick probably made that statement not even thinking about Ace. He's probably thinking, I want to protect the people that's part of the Final Four.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too.
So it's like,
yeah, I could tell you behind closed doors, like, yeah, man, you should have been up there. But when the cameras come out, and it's just kind of like, nah, everybody who's here deserves it.
Exactly.
Because it's just like, why am I going to rain on anybody else's parade?
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, if it was anybody else, you could see, hey, Nick, you should be a little bit more consistent. But Ace, because you feel the way you feel about Love Island, you shouldn't have took what Ace, you shouldn't have took what Nick said as any slight to you.
Yeah.
You know?
So he was asked about a cold sore breakout in the villa, and he just said that he didn't have any, but he did see some. And I'm just like, that's him being messy. You know what I'm saying?
That's not being real.
Talking about like, oh, well, I would make sure that I knew people's situation before. And I'm just like, everybody's kissing everybody.
For one.
So
exactly.
if there was something going around, it was going around.
And and then on top of that, they do a lot of testing that we heard more than three contestants say they do a lot of testing for STDs and all that type of stuff. And Taylor said on his live that it is not what Ace is trying to say it is and things like that.
And then he's asked, do you think Shelly and Olandra were bullies to Huda? And Ace says Shelly and Olandra held themselves like queens and were therapists for other people. There was no bullying.
Facts.
Huda can post things to quickly clear her name, but when it came to putting down the racist comments, she didn't make any commentary about it. But Olandra and Shelly made posts about how they wanted peace and not hate.
Okay.
I do want to say that I did appreciate how Ace spoke up for Shelly and Olandra and saying that there was no bullying and that they did hold themselves to, a high standard. And that is something that I saw as well. When it came to Shelly and Olandra, were there still moments and situations to where they probably could have been handled better? Specifically to me about Shelly, yes, but I don't necessarily think it was bullying, and it wouldn't have been a time to bring that up here anyway.
And so listen here, I agree that not only did they held themselves to a high standard, the highest standard as queens, right? That doesn't mean that they are without fault. Right, we can look at parts of the season where we were like, Shelly, I don't.
Because nobody's without fault.
Exactly.
I'm not without fault.
Like Shelly, I don't agree with that. Olandra, you could have been nice to Clark in the beginning, but I understand why you're not. I understand why you maybe standoffish to the Casa girl. That doesn't mean that you're not a queen yourself and you are not basically representing yourself to the highest level. So just because they may have faults throughout this season doesn't mean that they were bullies and that we should color the whole experience with one color. Facts.
Yeah. So Ace lists his friends or people he's cool with outside the villa, and it's Shelly, Olandria, Taylor, Brian, and Jeremiah, and these are the people who actually support him out loud.
Okay.
He's cool with Nick, but they're not as close as they were in the villa based on him not standing on what he says, and that goes for a lot of the Islanders. Ace also told Nick that he gave a lot of PR answers, and Nick said, honestly, I'm over the whole thing, and Ace said, it's his life, though.
It is his life.
And I want to say this. This is where being vague isn't helpful to the conversation.
Help me.
Because what are we talking about when Nick says he's over the whole thing? Was there a specific situation? Mm-hmm. Was it just about when him talking about, oh, the 4 people should be here? Like, what were you guys talking about? Because if it was something that happened in the villa and he gave like a nice answer outside of the villa, then not necessarily that is opposite to what you said, but maybe cleaner or nicer, and you're pressing him about it. And he's just like, look, bro, we're out the villa. I'm not thinking about that. I'm moving on to better things. Yeah. Then it's just like, what are we actually talking about? You know?
I think you hit the nail on the head right there, because you're giving answers without context.
Yeah.
So we don't even know what y'all talking about. Mm-hmm. It's like you're inserting where it kind of supports you.
Yeah. You're like, it's my life though. But what are we talking about?
Exactly.
How impactful is what Nick did in this instance to where he said he's over the whole thing? How does that impact your life in any way?
It doesn't.
I feel like Nick really didn't do anything to shake up Ace's anything. If I'm being honest.
Truth be told, a lot of problems that people have with Nick really have nothing to do with Ace. It's all things that Nick has shown himself throughout the season. So like that's why I'm like, I don't really understand the whole like you didn't defend me and things like that. We really never, any flack that we have on Ace and things like that is basically, Ace, you need to respond for this. For example, people call him a ringleader. Mm-hmm. Why would it be worse if any of them was to defend him besides us actually hearing from Ace?
Yeah. Because
we already believe that they follow your orders.
Yeah.
So it just seems like you're just mad that, you know what, they're out the villa and they're not really following, you know, they're not in step no more with whatever you want them to do. But at the end of the day, the facts are it is his life and he can choose rather to speak up for you or not. You know?
Yeah. So he's asked, do you feel like Olandria and Nick's relationship is real?
Yeah.
He doesn't answer. He just sits there smiling.
Of course.
He does say that it's tough for him because he has a lot of respect for Olandria. He does know Taylor and Clark's relationship is real. Shelly is not his girlfriend yet, but he won't be pressed to do something he doesn't want to do yet.
I don't even know what that means, that last part. Because you said at the reunion that she'd be your last girlfriend, mm-hmm. and that you go playing something grand, and at the end of the day, you won't be pressed. Right. Yeah. So like, but at the end of the day, if you are presenting your relationship as real and kind of subliminally saying that Nick Olandria is fake, then we will be looking for some evidence of realness of your relationship.
And I think the thing that gets me is because, look, I cannot ignore the age difference. He's 22. She's what, 27, 28?
I think like almost 29. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really know what Shelly's intentions are when it comes to dating. Yeah. Some people have intentions to date to marry. Some people have intentions to date just to have a good time. Mm-hmm. And coming off of Love Island, you would think that people are just dating just to have a good time. Yeah. It seemed like Olandria, she was on the show, but it seemed like she wanted something a little bit more serious. Yeah. So I'm thinking, to me, it really isn't a huge hurdle to ask somebody to be your girlfriend.
No, it's not.
It's not like you're asking to get engaged or, you know, anything of the sort. And maybe he does want to do a big, huge, grand gesture. And of course, he's not going to be pressured into doing anything. But if you want to be with the person, then you will be with the person.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what this big hoopla is about. Maybe because it is his first girlfriend, and maybe he's nervous about it. And maybe there's a whole bunch of other things that makes him hesitant to just do it, because what is the issue?
Yeah.
You know?
And listen, I want to take accountability, because I said throughout the season, throughout the reviews, that Ace is potentially the greatest cast member of Love Island USA history. And I really thought he was rare as a $2 bill, but there was just a little smudge on the corner of it. it was a $3 bill. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying everything that Ace said is wrong, but it's incomplete. And my thing is, where I'm from, you don't have to keep saying how real you are and how many toes you go stand on something and things like that. Just be you. Like, at the end of the day, be 100% yourself, and then the other people will decide how real you are. When it comes to the Nicolandria thing, there is a clear divide of people who believe that it's real and that it's for PR. But truth be told, this have nothing to do with anything, because let me explain, right? I believe it's for PR. That doesn't take away the fact that, hey, I'm not mad at Nick and Olandria making money off of this.
Yeah.
I'm not. Truth be told, I just want the people who are that are fanatics about Nick and Olandria. I just say, can y'all expect them, or can y'all not put the pressure on them to be romantic? If they could just be basically work wives, work husbands, and they could just do commercials together, make money together, I'm all for it, right? But I'm just saying that Olandria don't have to be in a relationship with Nick to basically for it to work. But the thing about it is, by him being vague and being kind of passive aggressive, talking about how fake or basically it's a PR stunt for Nick and Olandria, he kind of put the limelight on his relationship. Because as he is saying that, hey, they are fake and Taylor and Clark is real because that's his boy and things like that. And listen, I'm not doubting how real or fake it is, but we just don't care. Well, at least I don't care. Now, since your relationship is so real, I want to see the fruits of that realness now.
Make her your girlfriend.
No.
At the very least.
I'm going by your words.
Yeah.
She will be your last girlfriend and things like that. So now, guess what? We don't have that expectation for Nick and Olandria. That's one thing. We just happy that Olandria is basically, guess what? You found somebody, and guess what? You getting the benefits of Love Island to where you get to make some money and you don't never have to work a 9 to 5 again, potentially, right? But when it comes to Shelly and Ace, you made it very clear from the beginning of this interview, you don't need the bag, you don't need the influence, you don't need the clout. So now, guess what? It shouldn't matter to you about how many commercials you in with Shelly. It should matter to you what basically doors that open, some opportunities that come with it. We want to see a real relationship now.
Yeah, and for me with the whole Nicolandria situation, I really don't care whether if it's fake or real.
Yeah.
Or if they're really in a romantic relationship or not. What he was talking about how they didn't have a romantic spark, and then he went back with Sierra. So he said that's the last time he talked to him about it. That's what he was saying. Yeah. So when was the last time y'all talked about that then? Was it at the reunion? Like, that matters. Because
yeah, it depends.
Because depending on when it was, a romantic spark could have grown from their relationship. So I think that was a little bit unfair. I get that he wasn't trying to say anything, but he did put a smudge over their relationship,
of course,
to where there didn't need to be one.
Of course.
I mean, honestly, how do I put it?
Help me.
You may not be friends or buddy with Nick as much as you were before, but Olandria is your friend, right? And why would you want to mess up Olandria's bag? Why would you want to put into question whether or not her relationship is real and possibly have some type of situation to where deals don't go through for her because of the not realness of her relationship, which honestly, I don't really care. I don't think these brands care that much either. I think that they're together. We see them together on the show, and we're going to, get the fame off of it as well. So I don't know. I just feel like when it comes to that situation, I know that he didn't necessarily speak on it. But how bad is it just to say, hey, they got whatever they got going on over there. I'm not in the relationship. That's for them to figure out. Yeah. How bad is it to say that you don't know? Yeah. No, it's because you're not in their relationship.
Facts. And to me, I think you're right 100%. I don't think how real or how real it's not. It's going to affect Olandria's bag at all. I actually don't think the answer affects Olandria in any way. I think Olandria will reap the benefits of being on the show the same way as I think Shelly will reap the benefits.
But he's throwing dirt on it for no reason.
But and that's the thing right there.
Yeah, what's the reason?
It's just a thorn. It's just the okay. So your statement is not going to affect the bag. So what is the point of you even giving that statement? You get what I'm saying? So
or not giving that statement.
Or not giving that statement.
Just say it's none of your business.
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
So it just comes off as if you're being petty. Yeah. Because I go back to what he said in this interview. He said, when I came out and I saw that there's a Nick Landria hive, he's like, that's crazy. Because he probably was expecting that there'd be a hive for Ace and Shelly. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then he was only happy for Landry and not Nick. And I'm just like, because of whatever disagreement y'all got into, like, I'm just like, that's what I'm saying. The interview was too vague for me.
Yeah,
and Speedy had to pull out names and exact things, and even still, I'm just like, I thought you were trying to be real. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I was expecting him to actually come with real reasons of why. My reasons of not liking Nick is more realer than his reasons. My reasons are as simple as, guess what? You was in a real relationship with Sierra and you feel like you don't owe her a conversation. That's not becoming of a man to me. Number two, you just unfollowed her after the reunion when she's been saying all these things about Landra this whole time. That comes off as performative. Nick just comes off as performative to me. But the whole I don't like Nick because he didn't stand up for me comes off as self-serving.
It is self-serving.
So it's like, that's not enough. You know what I mean? So overall, Ace has some good points. I think he had more bad points than good points. And to me, even though you feel like people have the right to share their own experience, Ace could have kept this interview if he wasn't going to be 100% real and give names and give real situations and things like that.
Yeah, overall, I found it entertaining, and I do still like Ace. I mean,
Ace is okay.
I don't dislike Ace.
I ain't going to hold you. He definitely... The funny thing about it is I still like Ace after the Jeremiah thing because I think Jeremiah is an acquired taste, right? I think I
like Jeremiah too.
The thing about Jeremiah...
Not many people I don't like. I don't like Huda though.
Right. The thing about Jeremiah is I can see how people can hear Jeremiah jokes and be like, why is this dude joking like this? Like his jokes doesn't seem... Even though he can say it's a joke, it doesn't seem funny. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, especially if you don't know him.
Yeah. Exactly. So Jeremiah is definitely like Gen Z and type of thing to where you can kind of miss it. You know what I mean? At least for me. Right. But I would say even though like Ace is cool, he definitely lost some points in my book because I don't like the whole like, you know, self-serving, self-righteous type of thing to where you over here talk about how real you are, but yet you're talking out the other side of your mouth, talk about people made me do this, but you're real.
Yeah.
Take the risk of getting kicked off the show. Like my whole thing is when it's time, people want to be real when it's not time to be real. And then when it's time to be real, they want to cower and basically fall in line with the program. The bottom line is this. No matter how many times you sit down and said throughout this interview how real you are, you went through this whole program and you went along to get along.
And I will say this as well. I don't put it against anybody for playing the game. I mean, I'm Black in America.
Okay.
I know about playing the game.
Okay. And guess what? A Black woman at that, right?
I know. I know about playing the game. So I'm not against anybody playing the game when it comes to Love Island or whatever situation they're in order to get further in the process and come out with good prospects for things that could happen for them, you know, romantically and outside for their career. But I just don't think it's fair to put, like you said, put yourself on a pedestal above everybody else as though, you know, you weren't somebody who would benefit in the same ways as these other people. Your intentions may have been different, and maybe some people were, especially Fake. But I think a lot of what Ace was talking about had a lot to do, of course, with perspective, which he's going to share his perspective. And I wanted to hear his perspective because that's the person who was going through it. But I felt like because of how vague certain moments were, I feel like I didn't get a clear picture of what the situations and everything he was trying to speak to were. So, and
some would say you benefit more because you already had a following. Yeah. So you already had a jump start compared to somebody who probably don't have a following. So yeah, don't say you're above Love Island where you was on Love Island with these other folks and stuff like that. And you know what? He just have to sit with, you know what, season 7 is probably one of the worst seasons.
And I don't think he's an evil guy. I think that he definitely has his ways, and that's why I say he should be on Traitors because I think that
I don't think so.
I think that he has a good way of being cool with people, but also doing whatever work behind the scenes to make sure that he positions himself in the best way. And I'm just like, I don't hate it. But I don't like the fact that it's not something that he speaks to, that doesn't exist. I'm like, but it does.
The reason why I say maybe not Traitors, but maybe Traitors, right? Is because this was a unique cast to where he could have been. He's the youngest guy, and based on this cast, he was the smartest one in the room. The chances of him coming across more tailors, more Austins, more people who's willing to go along and get along with his plan and things like that, it's going to be slim to none, especially on a show like Traitors, to where they're bringing people there.
I want to see it.
That, I mean, I know you want to see it, but the chances are, I think I think Ace is going to find out, especially at 22, where I remember when I was 22, I felt like I knew everything. You know what I'm saying? Ace is going to find out very soon, in real time, that he is not the smartest one in the room. You get what I'm saying? And guess what? It's going to be a growth experience. But, we're going to see more of Ace and things like that. I don't think he's an evil guy, but I just think he's like very young-minded, and this interview came off as self-serving and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, it just is what it is. At the end of the day, I understand people saw the clip of what he think about Nicolandria. I still believe it's a PR stunt, but I have no problem with it being a PR stunt and things of that nature. I only have a problem when people expect more from them than what they are giving.
Yeah, let them do it how they want to.
Let them work as friends that find each other attractive than them having to forever be Nicolandria. Because there will come a time to where it would just be Olandria, and I want to see it where y'all still have that same love for her.
Yeah, Chris said stop being weirdos.
Stop being weirdos. Because listen, there's people that's going too far, and there's people that's going to go too far with Ace, with this whole interview, talk about maybe he's a narcissist and maybe his ego and all this stuff. I'm just like, he's a kid. Like that's basically what it came off to me and stuff. Like, he's a kid who thinks that everybody gotta be there for him, but he ain't gotta be there for nobody. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Let us know what y'all thought in the interview. Is that everything you had off your plate? We will see y'all. Hopefully, no more interviews. Hopefully, we will see y'all after Beyond the Villa finale tonight. Hopefully, we see y'all on Love Island Games.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.